about how homeschooling mothers can start a little home business, or, take up some entrepreneurial venture, because often families are surviving on one income, and it would be great just to have some extra cash coming in. I know how when I first started making some money, the first thing I invested was a nice big bookshelf for all our homeschool books.
Yeah.
But it felt so good to be empowered to splash out on something I really wanted with money that I'd earned myself. And so I just thought we'd, just toss around some ideas of how to fit it in, how to juggle it, how to come up with ideas, how we did it, maybe just chat a little bit and inspire mothers. And can maybe think of some other people who homeschool, and what have they done part-time or full-time to earn some extra money.
I think, unless you are going to be, if you're a professional like an accountant or a doctor, and you're going to be consulting from your own home and doing it, the most of the moms that I've interacted with that have a home business while homeschooling, they've kind of fallen into that business. They've seen that there was a gap and they've picked it up. I think of a mum here out in the Swartland, and she had a passion for open-ended toys. And her husband was a carpenter, and they set up a little workshop on their farm and started to turn out some of the most beautiful open-ended toys for children, which is now employing local staff. Everything is hand-painted. Her children are involved in it. And she literally fell into that business. And there's so many stories like that of parents who wrote a book because they wanted to teach their child about free-range farming, for instance, and it then, became something that was being sold, and another book is on the way. So that's been my experience, is that moms have kind of seen a gap and gone for it, or they are already professionals and they're consulting quietly from home. What's been your experience?
Yeah, I think you've just highlighted an important point about entrepreneurship. The experts always say that entrepreneurs are problem solvers. So often we see a need, we either have a problem ourselves and we decide to solve it and then offer that same solution to other families. That's kind of like what you and I did with Footprints.
Yeah.
But it's also what other entrepreneurs do. They see that there's a problem, or people need a certain product or a certain service. And then, like you say, they offer that, and they fill that gap. So I know people who, let me just think. So one lady started making soaps, and she sells soaps sort of on its side. And a lot of them are product or craft related things. People, one woman and her mother used to sew baby grows and sell them on a market. But then there are people, like you say, who have a skill or a passion or something they did before they have children, and some of them do it part-time or freelance, like photography or hairdressing or selling skincare products, or some of them do these sort of multi-level healthcare products and that kind of thing in marketing. And then others are, like you say, creating stuff online or doing graphic design services. One of my friends and I became doulas at a stage, and so we're doing that part-time. So like you say, it's whatever you actually enjoy. Sometimes it's a hobby, sometimes it's an interest, sometimes it's your passion, sometimes it's your ex-profession. There's so many ideas.
Yeah.
But the thing is to find the time between homeschooling and doing that work, and that's the challenge, not to let that consume too much of your time and stress you out.
Yeah, I read a book many years ago when we started Footprints, and I just felt like it was, getting out of control for small children trying to do that. And I happened to find a book at a Christian bookstore. Can't remember who wrote it, but it was called High Wire Mom. And one of the principles that she spoke about in that, which helps a mom keep the balance of working and homeschooling, and the parenting and the homemaking that goes along with life, is that we need to arrange things in terms of good, better, best. And so we know that what is the best is to be directly involved in our children's lives, homeschooling them, parenting them, doing what we call to do for them. Then the next thing, that is better, well, in terms of, good, better, the good things are all the other stuff that we can do, and your work would fall into that place. And then obviously our service to the community is the better, and the best is the working with our family. So a friend of mine used to say, we need to do what we have to do so that we can do what we want to do. And your have to do's in your day would be, training your children, teaching them, providing meals, etc., etc. And then what we want to do is to follow those passions. There's so many of us that are creative, that do long for an outlet. Some of us actually need to have a second income. Homeschooling, being on one income, can often be challenging, especially in the young years when your husband's still trying to establish himself in a business or in a job or something like that. And if that means that you can buy a bookshelf or contribute to the food budget or, get a gardener or a domestic worker, those are valuable pursuits, and there is nothing wrong with it. But just to keep that priority right, that family first, everything else second. You've got other tips, because you've been a long-term work from home mom.
I think it's always just to keep thinking about those things, because I wasn't always an entrepreneur. Shortly after I met my husband, we were one day visiting family, and his father said to me, "So Shirley, what's your idea for a business?" And I was absolutely blank. I hadn't even considered that question up until that point. I had just thought, well, when you're young, you get a job, and if you're going to follow a career, you kind of hope you move up the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
But, I ended up in a small town and decided I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I think it was only after that I started thinking about, well, here I am, I've got time on my hands, what could I do? And it was really when I needed a program like Footprints that I started creating it. And that's when I started learning the skills that I needed for marketing, for doing websites, for promoting. And then later on, social media came along, and you and I both had to learn how to use that. And so as you start, you actually grow in your skill set. And that's perhaps one of the great benefits of trying something, even if it's just a small little business where you just make a few things with your kids and try and sell it. You're modeling entrepreneurship to your children. And even if it doesn't work, you're going to learn valuable lessons, and they're going to learn that from you and see that process. So I think it's always great to give it a go, and don't be afraid of failure. If it falls flat, so what? You've learned what didn't work, and you're a step closer to learning and finding something that will possibly work. Fantastic. So I think we've got to all just give it a go.
Give it a go, 100%.